Greetings, hello ladies and gentlemen, and here we have the CollectA 2020 Roaring Allosaurus today. This was one of my most hyped figures for 2020. I was looking forward to a new Allosaurus from CollectA for a long time now, especially since they made an awesome Torvosaurus and Ceratosaurus in past few years, in the deluxe range of course, and I was really hoping for a deluxe Allosaurus. While we didn't get a deluxe Allosaurus, we did get the standard Allosaurus. I can say after getting this one in hands, I've almost completely done a 180 on it, and we'll get into those details coming up. But first of all, just an interesting fact about this one is this particular Allosaurus figure is based off of Allosaurus jamansoni. The most popular Allosaurus specimen most likely is Big Al, and he is in fact an Allosaurus jamansoni, whereas the more common depictions of Allosaurus in art and in figure form is of Allosaurus fragilis. So I will say I think it's really nice on CollectA's part in their decision to make a figure of this other species of Allosaurus for a change. And alright, where to start on this one? Well, first of all, detailing it's okay. I mean, I've seen better on other standard figures from CollectA. I mean, there are some nice scales fit into the sculpt around. I do like the round osteoderms running down the top of the body, the larger scales there on the top of the leg there as well. The scoots running down the back don't sit with me too well in person. I do like them in their smaller form, running down the back of the neck and down the tail, but particularly down the midsection of the back here, they feel just a little bit large and chunky, and don't just sit with me too well as far as the visual appeal of this model goes. I will say the arms and front claws look really nice on this figure. I do like the positioning of the arms and the toned musculature in those. And the wrinkles and folds in the skin throughout are just really nice. My first main problem comes with the legs, and you can see me kind of struggling to make this guy stand. There we go, just falls right over. I actually got this figure in the mail this morning, and normally when I make reviews, I like to sit on the figure for at least a few days to get my finalized thoughts on it. But this one kind of just rubbed me in a way when I pulled it out of the packaging where I was pretty confident that my opinion wasn't going to change on it too much over time. And one thing about this one, which is the unfortunate part of having figures made out of this softer material, are the legs. This one did have a plastic tray with it too, but the legs were like this, and it was pulled out of its plastic tray in the baggie. So I've had to work with it all morning to try to get it into a presentable state, and I finally got it into a state where it can actually stand on its own, although its feet aren't completely level with the ground, as you can see there. And another thing is the legs overall are in proportion with the rest of the body. They do feel a little bit thin when you're moving down the leg. But the big problem for me is the size of the feet. The feet are absolutely massive, and I know there are people who are going to praise this figure for not having a base, because most of CollectA's theropods have bases to help them stand. But CollectA, please bring back the bases, I'm sorry. You had so many more interesting and dynamic poses when you had bases attached to these figures, and it just kind of feels weird now, putting it up with my other CollectA theropods that have these, CollectA-esque bases. And this one just does not, and instead has these really large, clunky clown feet. So that's one thing that I just don't like about this figure. I think the legs overall are my least favorite part. But another thing actually is in reference to the head, so let's zoom in. It's on this side, and this kind of disappointed me, and I know this seems like a minuscule detail, but this just kind of detracted from it when I was trying to take pictures of it outside. And if you can see, there's actually too much black paint around the eye there. There is a black dot above the eye, which is just distracting to me, and it seems like it's such a small and overall kind of stupid thing to complain about, but it's kind of distracting, and it looks sloppy when you look at the face. Another thing is that the crests are not completely painted. I do appreciate that they included the red color going down the top of the crests, of course, but from both sides of the head, they could have brought down the red color to make it look a little less awkward, but instead you just have the top of the crests just with a stripe of red, and then the rest of them are just left in that bare green color, which looks a little awkward to me. I also think the teeth could have been done a little bit better. This is a very small scale, but particularly in the paint on them, you can really just tell they took a paintbrush and just globbed it over the teeth. And especially on this side, you can see the paint from the teeth bleeding down onto the lips of the animal, which is unfortunate. The interior of the mouth is a bright pink color, no gloss in there, and not too much detail, so not too much to talk about. And going back to paint sloppiness, it also applies to the scoots going down the back. You can see that there's some bleeding of the tan paint going down the spine of the animal. And my other bigger complaint, which kind of just sealed the deal that I just wasn't crazy about this figure anymore, and it really became apparent when I was just trying to take some pictures of it outside, is the labeling on the bottom of it. Why is it so obnoxiously large for a standard figure? First of all, this text is just so big, you can see it from every angle pretty much, except from directly behind the animal, and there go the stability issues again. But anytime you see it from more of a frontal view, you're just greeted with all of this text and legal stuff that's stamped onto the bottom of the animal. And my biggest complaint is this huge 3D CE logo that's just stamped in between the shoulders on the chest there. I mean, from the side, you just have this weird, jagged, smooth edge on the profile of the animal that just sticks out way more than it should have. And yeah, that and the legs are my two biggest problems with it. And then some of the quality control issues on the face are just not for me either. On the other hand, the coloration is very typical. I mean, you have some faded greens and some hints of some yellows and browns hinting through, but very typical Allosaurus coloration here with the red crests and everything, so nothing to write home about in that department. But I just wanted to do a quick comparison here with the CollectA Fukisaurus from earlier this year. This is from the same year from CollectA. And, I mean, just look at these two. The Fukisaurus has such crisp and nice scalation. It has really nice, crisp, beautiful paintwork on it. A beautiful pose as well. Granted, this one is depicted in a more quadrupedal stance, but still. And this Allosaurus is just kind of this awkward, more generic theropod with some quality control issues and proportioning issues that's just waiting to topple over any second. See? So yes, I think that covers all my thoughts on this 2020 CollectA Roaring Allosaurus. Yeah, I've almost completely done a 180 on this one. I still think the overall design of the animal is really good, but for the problem that the actual figure has, quality control and everything, it just really dips it down into this underwhelming kind of generic theropod figure that I think would have had a lot of its problems fixed with just more proportional legs and feet with a display base. So yeah, in case you're wondering how large this Allosaurus is, it's actually slightly bigger than I was expecting in person. From the tip of the snout to the tip of the tail, it is 7 inches long, which is about 18 centimeters, and in terms of the height at the highest point, which is the top of the head, it is about 3 3/4 inches, which is about 9.5 centimeters. And for another quick comparison with another Jurassic carnivore from CollectA, here's their 2016 Deluxe Torvosaurus. Man, how I would have loved a Deluxe Allosaurus from them. Maybe we'll get one in 2021. I would definitely be down for that. And if they do that, I'll definitely have to pick up the Ceratosaurus. That's one I've been meaning to get for a long time. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this review of the CollectA 2020 Roaring Allosaurus. Sorry for the kind of more depressing review. I wish I could be more excited about this one, but I'm just not. But don't let me refrain you from leaving your own thoughts on this figure in the comments down below. I'm excited to hear what you all think of this one if you plan on getting it. If you already have it, let me know your thoughts on it, what you like about it, what you don't like about it. But thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a like if you liked the video, and I'll catch you all in my next one. So take care, and bye-bye.